everyone, welcome back to Scrapping Scotland. Today guys, we're going to do a bit of a hard drive teardown, and I'm going to show you the difference between these different hard drives. So as you can see, we've got two big hard drives here. We have a smaller hard drive that comes out of a laptop, and we have two solid state drives. So I'm going to take all these apart and I'm going to show you the difference between them all. Okay, we will start off with this one. This is a standard kind of drive you're going to see out of the majority of computers that you pull a hard drive out of. Now, hard drives just aren't limited computers. You actually get a lot of these things in satellite boxes as well. So like your Sky boxes, your normal kind of cable boxes. If you record programs on your cable box, then it's going to contain a hard drive as well. Okay, but like I say, computers are probably the most abundant place that you're going to get these out of. So this particular one, you can see the board on the back. I'm going to show you here that the pins on this one are flat, okay, and the board is very small. Now keep that in mind, because obviously when we show you this board, it's slightly different on this one than it is from this one. So this one, flat pins, small board, aluminium casing and steel top. Okay, we're going to crack this one open and we're going to have a look inside. This one, as you can see, is a Seagate model. The one below, I actually don't know what model it is because there's no sticker on it, but this one is a Seagate and it's a 500 gigabyte hard drive. Now you guys can sell these online as is, and people will buy these as is. I'm not going to resell. I'm about scrapping it down for the components, and we're going to do that today and see what's inside. Okay, what I'm going to do as well is take the sticker off. Sometimes there is a screw hidden under the sticker, so I just take the sticker off, make sure we're not missing a screw. As you can see, taking that sticker off reveals another screw. And then just turn it to the side. There's a little gap, as you can see here. We just pop that and we take off the lid. So inside we can see the hard drive disk, the HDD. Now all hard drive disks contain a little bit of precious metal. Normally people think they can contain just palladium, but actually they can contain silver, gold, palladium and platinum. It is also important to note that hard drive disks can also contain hazardous metals like lead and mercury, so that's just something to be aware of. But they do contain precious metals, and obviously refiners, you know, you can sell them to refiners and they will refine the metals. Now what I would say is they contain very, very small amounts of these precious metals. Not something I would recommend recovering yourself, but definitely something that you can sell on to refiners. They do contain value. Here we are removing the magnets. These are very, very strong magnets. They're called neodymium magnets, and it's the strongest magnets you're going to find, and they also have a value, so they're worth keeping, and you can sell them online just as a single magnet itself or in the pair, because commonly they come in a pair. There's a top and there's also a bottom to these neodymium magnets. Here is the top section. Keep that to one side, and then you can see there's also a bottom part to that magnet. Okay, so there's the bottom part here underneath this reader. So let's get this section off and get out the disc, get the reader off, which contains a little bit of copper, as you can see, and then we can get the magnet out from underneath. Again, all these screws are going to be stainless. And as I say, just check them because that is not always the case. So that's all the screws removed from the magnet, and now we'll hold this down and we'll get these ones out so we can release the actual hard drive disk itself. I would always recommend as well using a manual screwdriver. If you're using an electric screwdriver, it is very easy to strip these screws, and if you do that, it makes it extremely difficult to remove the disc itself, and then you're going to end up with trying to break the disc to get everything out. These little bits are commonly aluminium. As you can see, it doesn't stick. It does a little bit. So maybe there's a little bit of stainless in there as well. Most likely that's going to be stainless because it does have a little bit of stickage, but not enough to say it's just normal steel. So I would say that is stainless. Now to get this piece out, we need a straight screwdriver. Okay, we'll put that to one side at the moment because we still need to remove these two screws to get this piece out. Okay, that's our reader out, as you can see. So, looking online at these kind of things as well, there is a little bit of gold wire that goes down the edge of this. It's very difficult to see, but I do know that people do recover that. This is usually made of aluminium itself, so as you can see, it doesn't stick to the magnet. There is a piece in the middle that's usually steel. This looks like it's stainless steel. So again, we can take that whole piece out of the middle, but you do need to kind of punch it out. I'm not going to do that on this video. The pins that are attached to it as well, these are gold pins. Not sure how well you can see that in the light, but they are gold pins. Okay, so again, some value in recovering them if you recover gold, and if you refine that yourself, or if you stack your gold pins up to send them off to a refiner or sell them online. Okay, we can now remove the disc. In fact, the easiest way to do that is just to tip it upside down, as so, and there's our disc. Now these can be made of aluminium, as I say, coated with precious metals, or they can actually be glass. This one is aluminium. Now, this little motor you have to punch out. So you put a punch on that side and you bang it through, and that will pull out your motor. Okay, I'm not going to do that today just because I'm actually doing this at my table in the house rather than at my workbench in the shed. So I'm not going to do that today, but that's how you get that out, nice and easy. Sometimes it will break the aluminium a little bit, but again, it's not an issue. And then you can just stick that directly into your electric motors, or you can pull the little piece of copper out that's inside this. It's like a little copper star, like a little star that copper is wound round. You can pull that out, and then you've also got a clean piece of aluminium here. Okay, so up to you how you manage that and how you deal with that. These pieces can just be pulled off. These are just little cleaners for the disc, making sure it's nice and clean. Okay, we'll sort that out a little bit later to clean up the aluminium. But now we'll take off the board. Here's our board. So as you can see, we've got a couple of flat IC chips here, 1, 2, 3. Got a really tiny IC chip here. We've got some monolithic capacitors in a row here, a couple here. Not much else, and certainly nothing on the back of the board, but we do have these gold pins. Okay, now these gold pins can be one-sided or two-sided, and what I mean by that is the gold is present on one side, or it can be present on both. I suspect on this one it's probably present just on one side. These are classed as high grade boards, so whether you take off the IC chips and whether you take off the gold, or whether you sell it as a board, if you sell it as a board, it's high grade. Okay, so what we'll do after we take all this stuff apart is we'll weigh it up and we'll see what the aluminium weighs. So, in summary, we have our two neodymium magnets. We have our HDD disc. I thought this was stainless steel, but I think it's aluminium, sorry, but I think it is a little bit of stainless steel. We have our stainless steel screws. We have our little reader. And then we have our steel top. And of course our board. So that's our first one taken apart. Let's take apart the second big one and see what that brings us. Hard drive number 2. There is like a steel plate on top of this one, but the rest of this is aluminium. So we will need to separate that steel plate from this aluminium to obviously maximise the price of our metals, or that would have to go as dirty aluminium, and we don't want to do that. There's our steel plate off, as you can see, sticks to the magnet. And the aluminium piece doesn't. So the top of this neodymium magnet is just a plate. It's just a steel plate. And the magnet itself is on the bottom. Okay, there's a reader out. A little bit of brass in the middle of this one. And the pins on it, I'm not sure if they're gold, don't look gold. They may not be, may just be brass. But again, you've got your copper piece here. And as I say, there's a little gold wire goes down the side of these. This reader's slightly different, it's got 3 pieces to it. The previous one only had 2. So it's slightly bigger, slightly heavier. It's made of aluminium as well. This little piece in the middle is steel. Again, another aluminium disc with again a very thin coating of palladium. But as I say, there are other metals involved there as well. Put that again over with the other one. This one's slightly different, as we may be able to release more of it. What I would say, guys, as well, is they don't always contain just one single disc. Some hard drives contain 2 discs. I don't think I've had any that contain more than 2 discs, but there might be. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so on this one we can release the motor. That little piece seems to be aluminium. Again, could be stainless. And then we've got our motor here. Doesn't seem an easy way to release that, but it does have a sticker. Let's get the sticker off and have a look. So again, we just need to punch that through, but you can put that in your motors, your electric motors, just like that. But again, if you want to release that from the aluminium, then hole punch, bang that through, it will knock this motor off, and that will leave you with a nice clean piece of aluminium there. This one's quite a strong magnet, as you can see, it's quite a thick magnet that's on it. Okay, that magnet's released. As you can see, that's quite a thick piece of neodymium on that one. Just be careful with these guys, don't get your fingers trapped, your skin trapped between the 2 halves, because as I say, they're strong magnets, you don't want to do that. So I'll just throw this piece on top, stick them together, like so. Oh no, a bit better than that hopefully. Like that, and we'll stick that with our other magnet. That's now a nice solid piece of clean cast aluminium. And then we come to the board. So this board, as you can see, is completely different from the last one. There's more IC chips for a start, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So actually 4 IC chips, and this is a little BGA. Difference between that, as you can see, that there is kind of soldered legs on the side of these, and with this one, it's like a little ball grid that's underneath, hence the BG and the BGA. So there's a little ball grid, and you can tell with these ones as well, that has a little gold corner on it. On the underside, again, there is no items on that, there's no components, but the difference with this one is the pins. So as you can see, these are solid pins, they're not flat pins, and they are all gold plated. They're not gold plated right throughout, so if you can see the back here, that's not gold, but the pin head itself is. So if you can see there, you can see that the whole pin is gold. It's only the connection to the board that isn't. So they're well worth recovering if you recover gold. Again, if you are just selling your boards, then this is another high grade board. But as you can see, completely different to the other board we had here, and they are 2 hard drives. Yeah, so flat one and actual pins. Okay, so gold pins along here, gold pins this side. These pins here are just brass and they're not gold plated. Okay. Now we're going to take apart this little one to show you as well that the components aren't really that different from the size of them. The only difference is, as I say, the size. Okay, so we'll take this one apart and we'll show you that basically everything inside here is the same as what's inside the big one. Okay, lid once again is aluminium, and as you can see inside, we just have a smaller disc. We still have the reader, we still have the neodymium magnets, and if you can see the board on this one, we have a variety. So we have the flat ones and we also have the standard pins. So there's a bit of both on this one. The board, there's nothing on the back side, but once we get that off, we can see what there is on the other side. Again, piece of steel here. You can get that disc out right away. So as you can see here, there's 2 discs in this one. There's a little aluminium, oh no, it's not aluminium either. Again, a little steel separator in the middle. So 2 discs in this one, although very small discs. With this one, the reader is being kept in by a screw on the back side. There's our reader out. There's our neodymium magnets. My scrapyard insists that this little bit is taken off, so just be aware of that. They'll try and downgrade you sometimes if that bit remains on the aluminium casing. And you don't want to get downgraded, so just make sure you clean up your aluminium, guys. Okay, here's our board. It's got a little covering on it. So again, we've got some flat flat pins, and we've got some standard pins. So a bit of gold on there. A couple of little IC chips. A little bit of gold connectors in here. And again, that would just go as a high grade board unless you want to remove the gold pins from it. This I will clean up later and we'll take the motor out, but I'm not going to do that right now. So again, we've got our aluminium casing, we've got our couple of discs. All these screws are magnetic. I had this little piece that was attached to the reader. This is actually brass. We've got our aluminium top to the casing of the hard drive. This is aluminium. And then we've got our little reader again. Little gold pins on these. Don't know if you can see that very well. There's little gold pins on that. And then our reader. Again, aluminium reader. This one's slightly easy to get out because there's a little nut on it, so you can take that little nut off and that will release the centre piece. and then you can clean that up as well if you wanted to do that. Okay, so finally we've done 2 big hard drives, so we're going to do 2 solid state drives as well. First one we're going to do is this OCZ Vertex. Now this one's got a little bit of weight to it, whereas this one is really quite light. I think they're both steel. No, that one actually seems to be completely aluminium. This one looks to be an aluminium top and a steel bottom. Okay. Okay, so here's the bottom side. As I say, that's all steel. And then we have our solid state board, which as you can see contains quite a lot of chips. And we have some gold pins. Okay, should now be able to separate the board. There we go. I thought this was aluminium, but that's plastic. Okay, so that top is just plastic waste. And there is our solid state drive board. We've got 8 IC chips on the back. We've got another 8 here plus a flat pack on the front, and then we've got our gold pins. So let's compare that to the Samsung solid state drive and see if it's exactly the same. Okay, now we've got the screws out. Just take it apart and look at the difference there, guys. Wow. I mean, that's a huge difference. Yeah. So there's the OCZ one and there's the Samsung. Crazy amount of difference, and there's not a great deal of difference in terms of the memory capacity. So seems like Samsung can do a lot more in a lot less space, but OCZ probably a higher performing one. And as you can see, it does have a lot more components. It even has a little gold band crystal oscillator there as well. So what do you think, guys? Did that surprise you? Did you expect them to be the same, or were you quite confident that the Samsung one was going to be completely different? In terms of the metals, that's definitely metal, but that's aluminium. Bottom piece, again, aluminium. So in terms of the casing's better on the Samsung one in terms of scrapping for metals, but the components inside, definitely the OCZ one is much better than the Samsung one. They both contain almost exactly the same amount of pins, as you can see. In fact, they are exactly the same amount of pins, but more chips on this one. Okay guys, so last thing there just to check was the screws. Are they all magnetic? As you can see, the magnet picks them all up, so they are all magnetic screws in that one. Okay, our first hard drive. As you can see, it still has the motor attached to it, so we do need to take that out, but it's not going to be a huge amount of difference in terms of the weight. And that's 258 grams for that one, which is 9.1 ounces. Second big hard drive, 246.1, 8.7 ounces. The small hard drive is 40 grams, and that is 1.4 ounces. And then if we put all the aluminium together, and again, yes, there is a couple of motors to come off of there. We've got 624.7 grams, and that is 1 pound 6 ounces of aluminium. Now we'll add up all the steel. Our steel comes to 166 grams. That's 5.8 ounces. This is all our stainless. I'm not convinced that is stainless, but I'm going to put it as stainless because it did stick to the magnet a little tiny bit. And these are all our stainless steel screws. And there's 16.8 grams, which is 0.6 of an ounce. Our neodymium magnets weigh 99.3 grams, which is 3.5 ounce. Our readers, which you can separate out, you can put that in as dirty aluminium. There is a bit of copper there as well that you can recover, but we'll measure them up. 41.2 grams, which is 1.4 ounce. And we've got our 5 separate boards, so 2 solid state hard drives, one little mini hard drive, and the 2 big hard drives. And they weigh a total of 94.2 grams, which is 3.3 ounces. We have our 1 separated motor, which again we will clean up and we'll take that piece of aluminium off of there. But if you were to put that as an electric motor, it would be 45.5 grams, which is 1.6 ounces. And finally we have our 4 platinum discs, or aluminium discs that have a thin layer of platinum on them, and that is 47.2 grams and 1.7 ounces. That's it guys for another episode of Scrapping Scotland. Hope you enjoyed those teardowns of the HDDs, the hard drive discs. If you did enjoy that, please do hit that thumbs up button, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, then you know what to do and hit that subscription button as well. And let me know what you think in the comments guys. Was it worth taking them apart? Would you just sell them online as is? Obviously if you're dealing with people's hard drives and you're scrapping them out, or if you're selling them on to other users, then you need to make sure that you're wiping all the data off of that to make sure that data was secured. For me, I just scrap them all down. I have a huge collection of these discs, and I will do something with them at some point. Not sure what yet, but I will do something with them. And I do like adding the casings to my aluminium pile as well, because these, especially these ones, that they do carry a little bit of weight, and if you do a lot of these, which I do, and I still have a lot of them to do, then the weight of aluminium adds up really quickly. Okay, so let me know what you think guys. Would you scrap them out, or would you just sell them on as is, or would you just not bother with them altogether and throw them straight in the shred? Each to their own. Okay, again, thanks for watching guys. We'll see you next time on Scrapping Scotland. Bye for now.